Hello everyone, we have finally reached 1 whole year on testosterone. I did mean to do a video at 42 weeks, I figured out, was the 29th of December, so that was somewhere in between 9 and 10 months to be, halfway between 7 and 12, but Christmas was, with COVID and everything, everyone who lives in the UK or is vaguely familiar with what was going on in the UK knows it was a difficult time, so that didn't happen. And to be honest, it's not like there's actually a lot that I can think of to talk about in these videos, because obviously you can hear the voice change, you can see my face, and there's not much else transition related to talk about. Obviously, still waiting anything to do with surgery because COVID again. So, don't know what to say. I have got more facial hair again. Again, it doesn't show up as much on camera as it does like in real life. I know this both from comparing selfies to looking in the mirror, and also people who have seen me face to face have noticed that it's more noticeable than in pictures that I've posted. So I promise it is in fact a bit more noticeable in real life, but you can see it's starting to do sideburns now as well. I'm very fuzzy on the chin. Look at the length of some of these. I actually trimmed one the other day because one was sticking out way further and less curled under, so it kind of stood out. I just snipped the end off one of them. But yeah, my moustache is much the same as... Oh, sorry, that's the light from my mouse, which was upside down. Anyway, it is still quite light in colour, so sometimes when the light hits it, it actually looks very blonde, because obviously my natural hair colour is somewhere between blonde and brown, so it sometimes looks quite pale, depending on how the light hits it. There is also, I promise, a little tiny bit here, but it's like 3 hairs that are thicker and darker than the basic fuzz of faces of any gender and hormone levels. So that's a little bit weird, and I'm hoping that it will actually join up here, and obviously eventually start to join up in here and come more in the cheeks as well. So I've continued to have ups and downs of acne. I just have to really stay on top of my skincare, to be honest. I have to make sure I'm washing my face, my upper arms here, and also there's been a patch on my chest, morning and evening. I tried to do that every day. Don't manage to do both every day. In fact, I didn't do it this morning. But try to, with proper face wash, things like that. As for the rest of my body, it has continued to get hairier in some places. I've started to get hair on my chest now, which I'm sure will look much better when I finally am able to get top surgery. Not that there is anything inherently wrong with having hairy breasts, it's just not what I'm going for, you know. The hair on my arms has definitely got a little bit darker, which I've said multiple times, but like, it has done, again. It just still doesn't really show up on the camera. And like, it's moved a bit more onto the back of my hand. My legs continue to be a bit of a forest, as does my abdomen. Something I never had before testosterone was navel fluff, getting dust caught in my belly button. Like, I'd heard of it being a thing, but I sort of assumed that it must be down to poor hygiene or whatever. But it does not matter how often I wash, because the hair traps it. That is a thing that I was not expecting. Is there anything else I was thinking about that I wasn't expecting on testosterone? I wasn't expecting where the acne happened, because during my first puberty, I've just realised I've been sat here with my very cool Spider-Man neck cushion on this whole time. I usually take off for recording, but that's fine. Where was I? First puberty, I got some acne on my face, obviously, some on my chest and on my back. Whereas this time, acne on my chest has only started in the last few months, and I haven't had much at all on my back. But I have had it constantly, mildly, but constantly, on my upper arms, which I don't remember happening at all during first puberty. So that's a bit random. I don't know if there's anything else. I mean, a pleasant surprise was that my menstrual cycle stopped immediately. For a lot of people, that takes a while, but I was already on pills to reduce that. I still had it regularly, but because it had been very painful. And so the combination of that and starting the testosterone stopped it completely. And now that my testosterone levels are up into the normal male range, I've been able to stop that, and it still hasn't come back. So that is exciting. That's probably the most personal thing you'll hear me talk about. As I mentioned in the first video, there are other changes that happen that some other trans people are comfortable talking about on the internet, but I am not. I don't think there's any noticeable changes to my overall body shape yet, though it is hard to tell because it's not like I'm in the habit of taking pictures of my whole body, especially not without clothes on, which can obviously hide the shape somewhat. So it's possible that there have been some changes, but not so you'd notice without a direct comparison, which I don't have. Again, as I've mentioned before, due to my chronic fatigue, I can't really work out to try and further masculinize my shape, because obviously working out on your shoulder muscles can give you a more masculine looking shape. So I don't think I've increased muscles. That is me flexing. That's not very impressive. Most of this is not muscle. My hair is longer than last time I made a video. I'm thinking of growing it out a bit now. I haven't felt comfortable with longer hair because obviously it's read as more feminine. But now that my facial hair is coming in and my voice has dropped quite a lot, I'm hoping I'll be able to be more comfortable with it. You know, it's just something I kind of want to experiment with. So that's why there's kind of little bits here, because it's in that awkward stage where it was cut short and I'm letting it go. It was trimmed around Christmas time, so this is only 2.5 months growth from a proper cut. So definitely in the slightly awkward stage at the back. But we'll see how that goes, and we'll see whether I feel like I continue to look masculine enough, or whether it makes me feel dysphoric to have longer hair, in which case obviously I will cut it again. Of course, the downside of having to wear masks at the moment because of COVID is that I'm not read as male as much as I might otherwise be, because the mask covers the facial hair and the upper half of my face doesn't really read masculine still, because I still haven't got any more eyebrow. I'm annoyed at that. So I think I mentioned in my very first video, and possibly one or two of the others, that I was looking forward to possibly getting some slightly thicker eyebrows, because that will tend to help with being read as male. No, some more eyebrow hair has grown. It's just grown like up here in patches instead of actually where the eyebrows are thin. So that's great. But it is only the first year. Changes will continue to happen for several more years. I have seen timelines of trans men who've been on testosterone for 5 years, even 10 years, and you'll see that they do continue to look more masculine, grow more full and even facial hair long after the first few years. So I'm trying to stay patient, and it varies wildly from person to person. My facial hair started coming in earlier than a lot of trans guys did, but there are also some trans guys who can practically grow a full beard after a year, and others who still have less than I do now after 2 years. So the journey continues. I have no idea when I will next feel like it's worth making a video, whether it will be in another 6 months, or if I hear anything about top surgery, or if I just feel excited about my beard having joined up or something. But I think one of the most exciting changes has been my voice. So I have put together all my clips, both from my videos and my voice recordings of the Jabberwocky, including a couple of pictures of myself for each month that I didn't do a video, partly just so that there is some background for the voice clip and partly to show more of the progress of my facial hair and everything. And I will play that now and include this month's very last bit at the end.
'Twas brillig, and the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the wabe.
All mimsy with the borogoves and the murmuraths outgrabe.
Beware the jabberwock, my son, the jaws that bite, the claws that snatch.
Beware the jubjub bird, and shun the frumious bandersnatch.
He took his vorpal sword in hand, long time the manxome foe he sought.
So rested he by the tumtum tree, and stood awhile in thought. And as in uffish thought he stood, the jabberwock with eyes of flame
came whiffling through the tulgey wood, and bubbled as it came.
1, 2, and through, his vorpal blade went snicker-snack. He left it dead, and with its head he went galumphing back. And hast thou slain the jabberwock? Come to my arms, my beamish boy. O frabjous day, callooh, callay, he chortled in his joy.
'Twas brillig, and the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the wabe.
All mimsy with the borogoves, and the mumraths outgrabe.